Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our final Pinnacle Award presentation of the day, the 25th anniversary Pinnacle Award for Lifetime Achievement. And this special honor goes to Professor Anita Hill of Brandeis University. Having the opportunity to present this distinct award is an honor, but also a great challenge. Where does one even begin in trying to sum up the 3 decades of lasting impact that Professor Hill has had on women across this country? Let me attempt to give you the highlights. The youngest of 13 children from a farm in Oklahoma, Hill received her law degree from Yale Law School in 1980 before joining the U.S. Education Department and Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. In 1989, she became the first African American to be tenured at the University of Oklahoma College of Law. Currently at Brandeis University, she teaches courses on gender, race, social policy, and legal history. As counsel to Cohen Milstein, she advises on class action workplace discrimination cases. In addition to these day jobs, she is also a published author and commentator on subjects ranging from bankruptcy to equal education opportunity. She's the recipient of numerous awards, grants, and honorary degrees. Her civic contributions are innumerable, including serving as chair of the Hollywood Entertainment Industry's Commission to Eliminate Sexual Harassment and Advance Equality in the Workplace, chairing the Human Rights Law Committee of the International Bar Association, and membership on the Board of Governors of the Tufts Medical Center, to name just a few of these civic contributions. Professor Hill, your remarkable career in law and your contributions to the students of Brandeis University alone make you more than deserving of today's Lifetime Achievement honor. But on this 25th anniversary of the Chamber's Women's Network, we also want to especially recognize you for your unbelievable courage, for your willingness to stand up and share your story, and most importantly, for inspiring so many other women to stand up and share theirs, all with the hope of making lasting change for women and the workplace. For all this and more, we invite you now to please come forward and receive your 25th Anniversary Pinnacle Award for Lifetime Achievement.
Thank you. Thank all of you for being here today. I can say that I am deeply moved and humbled by this experience today that I have had, and of course, the recognition coming from the Boston Chamber of Commerce. And I'm proud, really, to learn about my fellow honorees, and just want to thank them for the work that they're doing. Frankly, each of you deserves a luncheon of her own. I think everyone agrees, but I'm so glad we are here together because we inspire each other, and I will leave enriched and fulfilled from just knowing that you're out doing your work, and hope that we can all work together. I was actually thinking at some point when I do retire, because I've gotten a Lifetime Achievement Award, so it must mean it's time to retire. At some point when I do retire, I want to intern for each of you. So I've spent my professional life trying to make real the promise of equal justice under the law. I am like many of my friends and fellow lawyers, some of whom are in this community, Charles Ogletree, Lonnie Guinier, Martha Minow, and the late Sylvia Farrell Jones. We are members of what I call the Brown versus the Board of Education generation. And believe we all have a special calling because of that. But frankly, given how many of you first came to know me in the public light, no one would have predicted that I would be honored by the Boston business community, or any business community for that matter. I wasn't supposed to be here. My first public appearance was unplanned, to say the least. And my journey since has been unconventional, but I've really learned that many of the fellow honorees here have had unconventional paths to their roles. I remain not because I chose a path and it was straight and linear, but I remain and I'm here today because of the groundwork laid by many pioneers in gender and racial equality before me, who believed that justice is the guardian of liberty. And I stand on the shoulders of so many people, too numerous, really, to name. But I will mention one person by name, and I'm following in the footsteps of some of the other recipients today, and I'm going to name my mother. My mother, Irma Hill, but for her, I would not be here today. She and my father, as you know, Albert Hill, raised 13 children in rural Oklahoma. And they did so from the years of 1927 to 1973. And they think about those years, that time frame, because those of you who know that those were years of explicit and sometimes violent racism and sexism. Having spent her whole life doing subsistence farm labor, she knew that nothing would come easy for her sons, and nothing would come easy in particular for her daughters. My mother went to school for only 6 years, but insisted that all of her children, starting with her oldest, a girl, born in 1928, would have the chance to attend college. Keep in mind now that many girls of any race in our community left school after the 6th grade, as their mothers had. My mother modeled hard work, urged us to commit to learning as a lifelong endeavor and to pursue what was right with equal amounts of passion, honesty, integrity, and humility. She prepared us for the challenges she knew we would face in the same way that she prepared us for the opportunities she hoped that we would have and believed that we would have, despite all the barriers that she was well aware of. Fortunately, my father got on board with her vision. And they are why 27 years after my testimony, I know it was an allusion to it, but 27 years after that testimony in 1991, they are in part why I remain. But there are other reasons as well. I remain because the struggle for equality today is as important today as it ever was, and it is as hard today as it ever was. I remain because a high price for demanding change is all too often falls on the most vulnerable. And I know that I am privileged. And I am privileged in part because I continue to be able to do my job. I have not lost my job, even though it has been threatened in the past. I am able to teach generations who will make change real. And for that privilege, I want to thank Brandeis University, who is represented here today, and my colleagues and friends there, and a former student. Now, some of you are my age, some of you are younger, some of you are older, but those of you who are my age and who are older know that prejudice and bigotry and bias morph. And sometimes we think we've eliminated it, but it returns and in different forms. We know that transformation requires changing hearts and minds. But transformation and getting beyond all of our biases and discrimination requires also changing systems and structures and cultures. And those require long-term commitments. There are no quick fixes. And that is why I remain. And many have asked me, would I start my journey again in the way that I did? And my answer is yes, I would. Yes, I would. It was the right thing to do in 1991, and it is the right thing to do today. And will I continue? Will I continue? I will continue because, as you've heard, many women and men have come forward to share their stories as well and have been liberated in their spirits because of being able to come forward. But I also continue because I believe in equal justice under the law in its broadest sense, and in this particular detail, that every individual, regardless of race, disability, class, religion, color, gender, or sexual identity, has the right to be schooled, work, walk the streets, and live in their homes free from gendered violence. It's a simple proposition, but we cannot lose sight of that. That means that every branch of our government owes us the full protections of the law and the full recognition of our humanity. After nearly 3 decades, I still believe that when our government processes fail to recognize women's voices, that we, including the business community, have the right and the responsibility to demand better. I continue because I not only believe that we should demand better, but I believe that we should practice what we preach in the spaces in which we operate. And I am so glad to be here in this space to know that the Chamber of Commerce of Boston is leading in this effort to make sure that women's voices are heard and that we as a community and businesses and education and our not-for-profit organizations are going to stand up to the challenges that face us today and that face so many of the dispossessed and vulnerable in our community. Equal justice is possible. I believe that. Equal justice is possible. I believe that we will do better. We will do better because we see the challenges. We see, even after today, I know that after hearing these stories, you understand not only the challenges that we face, but also how we can overcome them. From listening to my fellow honorees, we know that we can do better. And I also believe that we have learned one lesson, that doing better and being better begins with individual commitment. It begins with individual commitment, mine and yours. So I want to thank all of you who are here today. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for what you will do in the future. And I want to thank you for what you're doing now. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for this singular honor to be awarded to not only to a woman from Detroit, but from a girl from Oklahoma. Today and going forward, I will continue because of your encouragement, because of your support, and because I know that you are out there doing your part as well. So thank you all, and Chuck, this award is for you.